Hey friends, it was so much fun when I did the first video this morning that I'm going to do our next video now. And I hope that you enjoyed listening to the first one. It wasn't very long. So this one probably will be about the same. Today, this afternoon, we're going to be reading chapter 10. It's A Fantasy World. And this is from Who Was Walt Disney? We only have, I think, one chapter left after this, and then who knows, we might keep reading books online. If you haven't, click the subscribe button beside me, and then I think a little bell will show up, and then that will tell you, you'll get a notification each time I post a new video. But then I may also still text your parents just so we can make sure everybody's getting this opportunity to read. I hope you're still reading on your own. It's important for you to do that every single day for at least 30 minutes. An hour would be best, but 30 minutes is good. And then remember to record that on your reading calendar because we're still in March, so you still have that calendar in your homework folder, okay? Hope y'all are doing well. I miss your sweet little faces coming in the mornings and seeing you for reading class in the afternoon. This is Chapter 10, A Fantasy World. In some ways, Walt Disney always remained a kid at heart. When he took his daughters to the merry-go-round in Griffith Park, he'd get on a horse and ride too. At home, Walt spent hours tinkering with wind-up toys and model trains. He even had a real little railroad built in his own backyard. On weekends, Walt put on an engineer's cap. He'd take his daughters and friends for a ride. Afterward, he'd whip up goopy banana splits that nobody could finish. It was good, wholesome fun. That started Walt thinking, what if there were a place where families, not just kids, could go and have fun together? It would be like an amusement park, only cleaner, different, better. It would have a village like, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this name right, Marceline, Missouri. Stores would sell Disney clothes and toys. There'd be a little railroad, a movie theater, and rides. Lots of rides. Roy wasn't wild about the Disneyland idea. Who will pay for it, he asked. Remember that Roy is his brother. But Walt already had the answer. Television had always fascinated Walt. He saw that it was the next big thing. All through the 1920s and 1930s, people tuned into popular radio shows. But you could only listen to the radio. You couldn't see anything. Television brought about the end of radio shows. Many filmmakers also thought of TV as the enemy. The little screen was taking away the audience for big screen pictures. Not Walt. He saw TV as another way to entertain people. He thought that in return for a Disney TV show, a network would invest in his theme park. Walt was right. ABC started running a show that featured Disney cartoons and some live-action skits. It was a big hit. The only show that was more popular was I Love Lucy, starring the comedian Lucille Ball. Now I want you to look at this picture. TV looks a little bit different probably than yours does. Walt was the host of the show. He talked to viewers in a friendly, grandfatherly way. Before long, kids all knew Walt Disney's face. He was a star. The Mickey Mouse Club was another hit for ABC. In every episode, there was always a newsreel, a cartoon, and songs and dances performed by a group of young actors called Mouseketeers. The first show aired in 1955. For many years, it ran 5 days a week. He also created a Western miniseries called Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett was a real-life frontiersman from Tennessee who lived in the early 1800s. To play Davy, Walt chose a good-looking young actor named Fess Parker. There were only 3 episodes of Davy Crockett, but every kid wanted a coonskin cap like Davy's. There's a picture of a coonskin cap. So you can see that the coon comes from a raccoon, and it was the skin, and they made it into a hat. That'd be fun to wear on your head, wouldn't it? Every kid knew the words to the theme song. The studio made a lot of money in television. Television helped Walt build his Disneyland dream. As with all of the other big Disney projects, Walt was in control. He loved working on the theme park. If he wanted to create a jungle, he did. If a lake wasn't big enough, he had it made bigger. Disneyland opened on July 17th, 1955 in Anaheim, California. Remember now, that's Disneyland. Just 4 days earlier, he and Lillian had their 30th wedding anniversary. That means they'd been married for 30 years whenever Disneyland opened. Opening day did not go so smoothly. Crowds stood in line in one